As we drove through the 18 miles of no man's land between Alaska and Canada, a truck passed us and a rock flew off his tyre and smacked into our windscreen. Thankfully the rock didn't come through the windscreen, but it hit hard enough for us to get sprinkled inside the van with tiny shards of glass which reached the back of the bed. It was right in the driver's vision and we were furious, screaming and swearing at the top of our lungs. It was going to cost us $550 to fix. We managed to enter Canada without them seeing our windscreen, and as soon as we started driving through the Yukon, we noticed there were loads of no camping signs, so it really wasn't a good day for us. We did end up finding a lovely place to camp beside a lake, and it was great until these hundreds of flies came along and landed on Daphne, and they all started shuffling out of their skins and leaving our van covered in their old bodies. It was a very bumpy road along the Alaskan Highway, but we made it to Whitehorse where we ordered a new windscreen and spent a few days waiting for it and swimming in the lakes. And finally we were good to go and we headed to Skagway, which is another spot in Alaska. This ended up being one of our favourite side trips, and the drive was absolutely beautiful with so many amazing lakes, including Emerald Lake, which is a must visit. It was Canada Day when we visited this area, so we met some Mounties in Carcross, and we also visited the world's smallest desert. Sadly, we had another problem with Daphne, and there was a strong smell of petrol coming from inside the van. When we spoke to a local, he asked us if we had a fire extinguisher, so we figured it was a serious problem, and we headed back to Whitehorse to get it fixed. It was a leaking fuel injector, which Craig managed to fix himself from watching YouTube videos, and we were back on the road in time for my birthday, and it all worked out very well because on the route back we ended up seeing lots of wild bears.
What are we watching?
Bear!
Bear!
It's moving!
We celebrated my birthday half in Canada and half in Alaska, and we arrived in the gold rush town of Skagway. We were also in Skagway for Independence Day, so we got to witness the annual hot dog eating competition, lots of live music, egg throwing games and fireworks. Just when we thought we'd fixed Daphne, we had a new sound coming from under the bonnet, which was a loud clanking noise. The Dodge garage back in Whitehorse was full for the next week, but we ended up bumping into a guy whose name was Chance, and we took a chance with him and drove to his off-grid house where he helped us fix her. It ended up being the right decision because he found a loose bolt flinging around the fan belt, so we fixed that before it caused any serious problems, and we also got to meet him and his lovely wife. While under the van, Craig spotted a melted hose, but we wanted to hit the road, so we decided to fix it at a remote lake we camped at. Even though there were lots of no camping signs in Canada, we still managed to find some good spots to camp, and at one particular place, a lady and her 2 dogs joined us. She actually owned the Umami Alaskan Sauce Company, so she gave us lots of bottles of this sauce and cooked us dinner and insisted on cooking us breakfast as well, so it was quite the treat for us. We continued on the road down to Watson Lake where we stopped to visit the signpost forest. There are thousands and thousands of signs that people have added over the years, and we made our own one, which is a painted version of Daphne, and she's on one of the trees now in the forest, so keep your eyes peeled if ever you go there. Not far from Watson Lake is a really awesome place called Lucky Lake, which you can go for a swim in and enjoy the slide. The slide was free to use, so obviously we made the most of it, and it was super fun and really fast round the bends. Another popular stop along the Alaskan Highway is the Liard Hot Springs, where you can spend all day relaxing in the hot natural pools. When the water became too hot, we ventured up the creepy little streams where it reaches the colder areas. Once we left the hot springs, we were sort of in the bison area of the Alaskan Highway, and they started appearing on the roadside. So we were just strawberry picking right about there. We got lots of strawberries. And then a bison just turned up. We also saw lots and lots of black bears who were grazing on berries along the roadside. This particular family came along as we were having lunch in our van, and the mama bear must have smelt our food as she came right up to the van and scared the shit out of us.
Oh my god.
We didn't know what to do, so Craig just turned the engine on. Luckily that was enough to scare her away. Muncho Lake was one of our favourite spots in northern Canada. The lake itself is a fabulous blue colour. There's loads of hiking in the area and there's hardly anyone there. So we spent a few days hanging out by the lake. We did lots of swimming and hiking and camped in some beautiful spots. Considering this was the main road between Alaska and Canada, there were very few cars driving along it, so when we did see more bears, we could pull over and watch them from the safety of our vehicle. When we reached the town of Fort St. John, we stopped at Walmart to stay the night and stock up on food, and experienced one of the heaviest rainfalls we've ever had. Daphne was leaking really bad in the back, and the car park began severely flooding. We managed to escape just in time and pulled up in a safe spot where the rain began to ease and we saw the funny side of the situation. After a month driving through northern Canada, we reached the finish line of the Alaskan Highway in Dawson Creek. We then spent a few days driving through the prairies, which weren't so interesting after what we'd been seeing, so we ended up entertaining ourselves on our way to the Northern Rockies.